familiar Browns rival emerges as trade partner for Shedeur Sanders. The Cleveland Browns should have several options if they decide to move rookie QB Shedeur Sanders ahead of the NFL's November 4th trade deadline, with another potential landing spot materializing over the weekend. The Cincinnati Bengals lost Joe Burrow for up to 3 months following a turf toe injury he suffered against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, September 14th, which will require surgery to repair. ESPN sources: Bengals QB Joe Burrow will need toe surgery that will sideline him a minimum of 3 months, Adam Schefter reported via X on Monday. The Bengals have been calling around to other free agent quarterbacks since after Joe Burrow's injury, knowing they will have to add at least one more to their roster, Schefter continued in a follow-up post. Cincinnati has also inquired about potential trades for QBs, as the free agent market is thin, with players like Taylor Heinicke and John Wolford among the most accomplished available. Easton Butler of Packer Report posted to X Monday that the Bengals have reached out to the Green Bay Packers about the availability of backup Malik Willis. Given that, it isn't beyond possible that the team might extend a phone call to the Browns regarding Sanders. The Cleveland Browns had a plan. They believed they had struck gold when they drafted Shedeur Sanders, the prodigy quarterback whose poise, accuracy, and name recognition instantly gave the franchise something it hadn't had in decades: hope. But as the NFL often reminds us, hope is fragile, fickle, and fleeting. Now, with whispers echoing across the league, a familiar rival of the Browns is suddenly circling like a shark in the water, ready to pry Shedeur Sanders away in a blockbuster trade that could redefine the balance of power in the AFC. This isn't just a trade rumor, it's a story of pride, rivalry, ambition, and the brutal reality of professional football. Chapter 1: The Browns' Gamble. When the Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, it wasn't just about his arm strength, his football IQ, or the way he could slice up defenses with surgeon-like precision. It was about belief. The franchise had seen stars come and go, had felt the sting of false saviors, and yet here stood a young quarterback who carried not only his father's name but also his father's aura. Deion Sanders, prime time himself, had built Shedeur into a brand before he even set foot in the NFL. But Cleveland wasn't chasing hype, they were chasing stability at quarterback, something that had eluded them since the days of Bernie Kosar. Early flashes of brilliance justified the pick. Sanders delivered tight window throws under pressure, orchestrated drives with the calm of a 10-year veteran, and even showed mobility when plays broke down. Fans began whispering the forbidden words, franchise quarterback. But football, unlike Hollywood, doesn't always follow a neat script. Injuries in the offensive line left Shedeur vulnerable. Coaching disagreements bubbled beneath the surface. And as veteran Joe Flacco struggled in late-game scenarios, the Browns' offensive identity began to fracture. That fracture opened the door. Chapter 2: A Rival Sniffs Opportunity. Every NFL rivalry is steeped in history, but none cut deeper for Browns fans than the Pittsburgh Steelers. The black and gold have long been Cleveland's tormentors, their torment woven into the DNA of Sunday afternoons in Ohio. The Steelers didn't just win games, they stole dreams, year after year. Now, sources inside Pittsburgh suggest that the Steelers are quietly, but aggressively, positioning themselves to make a run at Shedeur Sanders.
Why?
Because Pittsburgh finds itself at a crossroads. Kenny Pickett, their supposed quarterback of the future, has failed to ignite the offense. His decision-making has come under fire, his accuracy has wavered, and most damning of all, the locker room seems unconvinced he's the leader who can carry them back to Super Bowl glory. Shedeur Sanders, with his pedigree, his composure, and his marketability, represents everything the Steelers crave: a young, dynamic quarterback who can sell jerseys, command a huddle, and keep pace with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and the high-octane AFC landscape. For Pittsburgh, this isn't just about upgrading at quarterback, it's about swinging momentum in the AFC North, the NFL's most brutal division. Chapter 3: The Rivalry at Stake. To understand the gravity of this potential trade, you need to appreciate the emotional tapestry of Browns versus Steelers. This is a rivalry born not just of geography, but of cultural identity. The Steelers, with their Steeltown grit and their trophy-laden history, have long represented dominance, discipline, and dynastic success. The Browns, meanwhile, embody the underdog spirit, a fan base that bleeds loyalty even when victories are scarce. Trading Shedeur Sanders to Pittsburgh would be akin to handing over the keys of the castle to your sworn enemy. It would be more than just a transaction, it would be betrayal. Imagine Sanders in black and gold, orchestrating drives in Heinz Field while Browns fans watch helplessly, knowing their former hope now fuels their rival's rise. The emotional toll would be catastrophic. Yet, in the cold, calculated world of NFL front offices, emotions don't win games. Assets do. And the Steelers have assets. Chapter 4. The Trade Package. What would it take for Pittsburgh to pry Shedeur Sanders out of Cleveland? NFL insiders speculate that the Steelers are prepared to offer 2 first-round picks, 2026 and 2027, a high second-round pick in 2026, a starting-caliber offensive lineman to address Cleveland's most glaring weakness, conditional pick based on Sanders' Pro Bowl selections. That's the kind of package that could turn even the most stubborn general manager's head. For Cleveland, still grappling with roster holes and salary cap tightropes, the offer is tempting. They could rebuild with draft capital, shore up the trenches, and perhaps find another quarterback down the line. But the Browns' history of quarterback roulette suggests that moving Sanders might plunge them back into the abyss they only just escaped. The stakes are monumental. Chapter 5. Shedeur's Perspective. Where does Shedeur Sanders fit into this swirling storm? Privately, those close to Sanders say he is both flattered and conflicted. Playing for the Steelers would mean stepping into a storied franchise with championship DNA. It would mean inheriting an offense built around weapons like George Pickens and Najee Harris. It would mean visibility on the biggest stages, primetime games, and a shot at rewriting NFL history in black and gold. But Sanders is also aware of loyalty. He chose Cleveland in part because he wanted to carve his own legacy, not ride his father's coattails or join a ready-made dynasty. He saw Cleveland as a challenge, and conquering challenges is how legends are born. Still, even the most loyal competitor must weigh reality. If the Browns' coaching staff remains fractured, if the offensive line continues to collapse, and if whispers of mistrust grow louder, then perhaps Sanders' future lies elsewhere. Perhaps, even in enemy territory. Chapter 6. The Fans React. Cleveland fans are already in turmoil. Sports talk radio in Ohio is ablaze with callers who cannot fathom life without Sanders. "He's our guy," one fan declared passionately. "Trading him to Pittsburgh would be spitting in our faces. You don't give your franchise quarterback to the enemy. Period."